In response to this objection, Nathanson argues that there is a significant difference between killing in self-defense on the one hand and other versions or forms of killing on the other hand, including the death penalty. And basically, what Nathanson argues is that when you kill in self-defense, the act of killing or the choice to kill is forced upon you by your attacker, by the criminal. That is to say that in an ideal world, you would not choose to kill this attacker, the person who's threatening your life, but rather you must do so. There's no other option. Otherwise, you might lose your life. Okay? Presumably, Nathanson would say, look, I mean, if you can defend yourself without killing the criminal, or if you can simply get away from the situation without killing the criminal, then you should do that first. Those are better options. But if your only option is to kill in self-defense, then that is morally acceptable because the choice has been forced upon you. And it may be the case that you are robbing that criminal, your attacker, of their human dignity, but you had no other option. That choice was forced upon you. In contrast, general examples of killing, or even in the case of the death penalty, the killing is not necessary. It's not forced. We have options, okay? So for instance, the person who attacked you and threatened your life didn't have to, right? Clearly, they did not have to attempt to threaten your life. They could have just avoided that. But specifically in regards to the death penalty, Nathanson wants to argue that killing is not forced upon us. We have alternatives. There are alternative punishments that are available that would allow us to punish the criminal without killing and thereby without destroying that criminal's human dignity. So in the case of self-defense, there are no alternatives to killing, but in the case of the death penalty, there is. Therefore, whenever it's not absolutely necessary to kill, you should not kill. And this leads to the second message that would be sent by the abolition of the death penalty, and that is that we should minimize killing in our society as much as possible. And more specifically, killing in society should be limited to self-defense. Self-defense is the only case in which killing is morally justifiable. If we can send that message to society, what consequences, what effects would that have? Nathanson believes that it would cause there to be less killing in society. In contrast, if our government continues to retain and practice the death penalty, in Nathanson's eyes, what that is communicating is that you are allowed to kill, or the government is allowed to kill, even when it's not necessary. Is that the message we want to be sending? Is that the message we ought to be sending to society? Nathanson would say no. We ought to send the message to society that killing should be minimized, not done when not necessary. And in Nathanson's eyes, that's what the retention of the death penalty is. It is a continuation of non-necessary killing, which is fundamentally immoral. Do not kill if you do not have to.